Party with your host, Dustin Rybka.
Hello and welcome to Sex Party. I'm your hungover host, Dustin Rybka. This is episode 43. My guest this week, this is a big one. This is a doozy. This episode is insane. My guest this week is Stevie Bowen. Stevie is the founder and author of The City of Dating, an amazing book, a fucking incredible dating platform. If you guys haven't been on a date in forever, this episode is for you. If you have been on a date in the last 15 minutes, this episode is for you. If you're on a date now and you're watching this, you guessed it, this episode is for you. There's so much value packed into this fucking thing. I'm actually worried that some of you might lose your fucking minds. If you stick around to the end of the episode, which you should do, Stevie tells us an absolutely horrific dating horror story. So get everything situated, pour a drink, buckle yourself in, because this is my conversation with Stevie Bowen.
This week's conversation.
Stevie Bowen, welcome to Sex Party. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm so great. How are you?
For those of you listening, you can't see me right now, but if you tune into the YouTube version of the show, I am dressed like I sell weed to middle schoolers, I feel. So if that's any representation of how we're feeling, we might be a little hungover, you know.
No, it looks great. I love it. I'm loving this black cat when you see him. You look great.
Yeah, you gotta you gotta stroll the parking lot and look for buyers. No, I'm kidding. So for the people who who are fed up with my bullshit already, and they don't know you, can you talk a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes. So I am the founder and author of The City of Dating, which is a dating community platform, which is dedicated to helping daters and others date to find themselves, not their soulmate. So my whole idea about dating is obviously you go out and you meet new people, you sort of get to see like new cultures and things that you probably wouldn't see otherwise, and how that sort of shapes you, and that every person, whether that's a date, a relationship, a one night stand, they all mean something to you and show you something about yourself. And that's sort of my whole take on it. I have a weekly dating advice column where I talk about sex and dates and self-love and sort of the whole encompassing of what dating is. And this is all in New York City. I've lived here for, 8 years now, which is so crazy to think about. So yeah, and you might hear a little bit of an accent. I'm originally from England, but I grew up in Texas. So I literally sound like I've been sort of dropped in the middle of the Atlantic. And here we are.
No, I think it's great. Okay, so right out of the gate, after all that beautiful exposition, right? Why does dating suck so badly?
God, I don't think dating sucks. Is that so crazy to say? I love dating. To me, it's all about meeting new people. And like I said, like you just really get to meet other people of different cultures, especially in more of an urban area like New York City. And I know people hound on dating apps like crazy, and I am one to also complain about dating apps, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't get to meet these cool people just in my daily life if I wasn't on there. So I don't know. It's like a catch-22 a bit, but I love it. I love dating.
Well, I love that you answered that way, right? Because you would have to love dating to build an empire, around it the way that you have. And I think, we all kind of have a love-hate relationship at times with everything. The fucking grocery store trips or the arguing with all of this stuff, right? And so
I hate
dating,
grocery shopping.
Me too. And yet I'm there every goddamn day.
Wow.
No, it's terrible. And dating is at least in my experience is, you have to kind of suck it up a little bit, I think, and go through some of the gnarly parts of dating, because it can be super weird. Was there something? What was it about dating for you that was like, I'm starting this thing and we're doing it?
Yeah, I grew up in a really small town in Texas where I went to school, and I just really wasn't into relationships and dating. I was like all about my friends forever. I was like hanging out. I was always the third wheel, the fifth wheel. Like I didn't really care. And I came to the city and I kind of just started to meet people and meet guys. And I kind of realized it was like, wow, I'm really like enjoying meeting people and going on dates. And I think also writing my book as well, like allowed me to sort of like reevaluate what these dates, what these one night stands meant to me. And after writing that and figuring out that each person sort of taught me a lesson, I was like, I kind of fell in love with dating a little bit. And that's really what inspired the community platform, inspired me to want to talk about it more, write about it more, and kind of approach dating in a way that's not like, you're not dating for like one single outcome, for the whole idea of sort of like settling down. It's more just like dating to just sort of see where life goes. It's a chapter in our lives that should be more celebrated as opposed to like, dreading every second of it.
Yeah. And that's insanely interesting because at least what I'm picking up on, and you can be like, nah, dude, that's incorrect. But I feel like what I read between the lines there was maybe there was like apprehension towards dating, right? It was like, and then once you sort of like, I don't want to say stopped caring, but like maybe like you're like, fuck it, let's roll. Then it became something positive.
Yeah, I think like you said, I mean, it's almost like changing the approach to it instead of looking at it like, God, I got a date to get into a relationship. And then, what does that run into? Like engagement and marriage and everything like that. And I just feel like we don't have to, when you're dating, you don't have to know that those are the things that you want. And maybe that's not what you want, it's maybe you do want a partnership, but maybe not a marriage or something like that. But I feel like you wouldn't maybe figure that out unless you're putting yourself out there and talking to other people and just hearing other experiences, rather that's with dates or other daters out there and stuff like that. So some people don't really, some people find my approach a little bit interesting because I think the idea of dating without the outcome of settling down is a little crazy for some people to understand. But I think it's so important. I think you sort of put yourself first with dating.
See, let's just start the revolution. This is perfect because I love what you just said. I love your approach because people they just date to find that partner. And I say it on this show all the time and people are probably like, shut up, dude. But like, back in the day, you would just meet a friend's cousin's uncle's brother, right? And then you would just get married to that person because they were good enough. And then,
right.
You're having a blowout fight in the tavern parking lot and whatever, because we don't take the time to get to know someone. We're trying to check that box. So like dating is this practice where it's like, gotta find a partner. But I think it's really fucking cool that you take that out of it and you do it more for the experience. Maybe you have great sex with a multitude of people. So that's cool. You get to like learn stuff you never would have. How do we, burn the whole thing down and go with your way?
I just think you kind of have to, in your mind, you just switch the narrative. I'm all about you control the narrative. You control what happens on a date, who you want to go on a date with, I don't know, anything like that. It's in your mind. And when you're on the date, it's almost looking at it like, are you liking the person in front of you? Is like maybe their dreams, their visions, what you're kind of feeling, or if you're vibing with that. And if not, then like, that's totally fine. But if you are, then like, maybe you should pursue them a little bit more. But it's almost like living in the moment. That's so stupid to say. And it's so cliche, but it really is. It's not looking ahead. It's looking at like what's in front of you in that moment, in that time.
Yeah, I love that. It always, stuff like this really like hits me on a personal level, but then I get like real fired up about it. Like, who is it? Bukowski, who said like on his tombstone or something, it says, "Don't try." I mean, that is such an amazing philosophy. And so I feel like that's, don't try and live in the moment, right? It does sound cliche, but it really does fucking work. Not just with dating, but with a lot of shit. I think that I'm figuring out.
Yeah, because I think when you're on a date, if all you're thinking about is like, can I marry this person? Can I get engaged? And is he or she checking a box? It's like, why does that fucking matter when you're the one who has to spend your whole life with them? Like, these are the people that are going to be living in your home. You're like, got to share a space the rest of your life. It's like, don't you want that to be someone who you completely vibe with on every level?
Yeah, and see, I'm going to repeat myself again, but y'all can just deal with it, okay? It's my show. This is what we're doing. I love what you just said, and you said it before I did, but we do put more thought and strategy into like our fucking dress that we're wearing to 2 Easters from now or whatever, right? Then we do a life partner, and that person is in your home eating your food. Like, well, what's going on? Why do you think it's like that?
God, I don't know. I think it just dates back to, I don't know, decades of what dating is and what like the meaning of life is. And like this whole idea of like settling down. Though I hate that word, because like, what is settling? Like, isn't that like something that like we shouldn't do? Like, we shouldn't settle. And I just think it's been so embedded in our brains. I think specifically also like in America, like the idea of getting in a relationship, getting engaged, getting married, having children. It's like, if you check all those boxes, you will be happy and you will feel fulfilled. But though that is the case for some, 100%, if that's what you want, that's so cool. I love that for you. But like, if that's not what you want, like that is totally fine. There's so many different variations of what life is all about and happiness.
Yeah. And why, again, like if it's something that's massive, if that's your happiness, if that's your future, why are we rushing to get to Pottery Barn? Like, what is the deal? What?
Right. 100%. And I think what I love, especially in New York City, I think you see when people sort of get married or make that big commitment or figure out like, oh, what my life partner is, they're like in their sort of like late 30s or something, you know, it's not so like in your 20s here. And maybe I'm just like more aware of it because I grew up in Texas. I still have friends there. And I mean, so many people are thinking of like getting married or are married, and they're like, and they're like in their mid 20s, and like, that is totally chill and fine if that is what you want. But I think it's wrong to think that that's what everyone also wants.
Yeah, and it's like this wacky judgment game where everyone's like, what's wrong with Shelly? Or, or what it's like, oh my God.
Like, what's wrong with Stevie up there? Like,
Exactly.
What the hell is she doing in New York City?
I know. It's insane. It's like, just leave us alone.
Right. And I want to empower other men and other women to feel like they can date on their terms, and like that they can create a sort of life, a relationship or partnership that they want, without all the bullshit that's like coming at us.
Yeah, no. And I love it. I love how, like almost like pragmatic you are about it. Like this is, you just take that out and then you just, there you go. Like, oh shit, that's fucking legendary. I love that. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because I just think what you do is incredibly interesting. And I had to know like how tired are you of people comparing you to like the Sex and the City woman?
I always say, if you want to compare me to her, I guess I would say I'm a little bit like Carrie Bradshaw, but I'm way more self-aware. Like that woman was not self-aware at all. And she was really a shit friend. Mm-hmm. And I really think that friendship also and friends coincide with dating. I think what's dating if you can't sit, on Sunday having like a beer or drink or bagels with your best friend, telling them about this crazy sex you had or this date that you had, because you've got to share those experiences. Then like, what's the point of keeping that all to you? So yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it, but I definitely am always like, I'm way more self-aware than that girl.
Yeah. I think maybe some of her writers like quit mid-season or something, or like whatever,
Yeah, definitely.
But a legendary show nonetheless. Mm-hmm. So when you were coming up with the idea for the City of Dating, was it something that really like chased you, or was it something where you were again, like really pragmatic about it? Like, oh, this is what we're doing. And then you went and did it? Or how long did it stalk you?
I lost my job in early 2020, like a lot of people. And that's when I sort of had this idea to write thank you letters to past dates, relationships, one night stands. That's how my book is written. It's all in letter form. It tells you the story. And then it says thank you for X, Y, and Z for the lessons. And I started writing the letters and I kind of was like, wow, this is kind of a book. I'm kind of writing a dating memoir as I'm doing this. And I decided to publish it. And then it kind of just gave me this idea of like, wow, I want other people to feel this feeling that, I sort of created from writing this book and writing down my thoughts. And I wanted to share that with everyone and give people the opportunity to share their date confessions or their dating stories. And so I just sort of made the platform. I don't know. I just started doing it and I sort of figured it out as I went. And, yeah, I don't even know. It felt very natural.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to get people on the record like talking about their creative ideas because I'm in one of mine right now. And this thing like fucking haunted me it was like once I was like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast, but what's it going to be about? I don't know why my internal monologue sounds like an old woman, but
I love it.
We'll skip it. And then once I said, oh, I don't want to do the same old tired movie podcast that everyone's doing. Let's go right into sex. Let's call it Sex Party. So then great, right? But then once I had that, it like chased me down. It was like a little demon I had birthed into the world. And it was like tearing apart everything in my apartment. And like, it was there when I woke up. It was there when I went to sleep,
Yeah.
And I love that, you didn't even really think about that process. Because for me, that process was like kind of painful. I'm like, I'm going to do it. All right. Just leave me alone. And it didn't. And here we are.
Yeah.
But everybody has a different.
I think it's definitely now like a little demon that chases me around because it's all I can think about. And I'm sure you feel the same. It's like, what's the next creative thing that you can do? I think your mind is always buzzing about it. But I think that's what happens when you sort of start something creative or you start a business or a brand. It's like, it's your baby. It's it's like a demon baby, just always chasing you. It needs attention all the time. So I don't know, but it's exciting and it's fun. So
yeah. And we love demon babies.
Love demon babies. I mean, they make life interesting.
They really, really do. Okay. So would you say that same mindset of being in it, having like a healthy obsession with it, with a project, is that kind of the same mindset that you got in when you started dating for the fun of it and to have experiences where like, oh, wow, I can't. So that then led into this.
Yeah. I think with dating, I just think the whole idea of just going into it not without expectations. And that's something my mom like always said to me was like, just don't go in with any expectations. And I think I'm just such an open person in general, with my dates and with everyone. And I think that really comes across of like why I'm doing the City of Dating and why I have this platform and I write about it. Cause I'm just like, don't care. I'm like, here, this is me. This is what I do. You can judge it. You can love it. Like, whatever sort of thing. And I think it comes like my mom, my parents divorced when I was like 10. So I really grew up seeing my parents date. And I think that really sort of transformed the way I dated and the way I was open about dating. My mom has the best stories ever of crazy freaking men that she's gone on dates with. And same with my dad. So I think it's just naturally allowed me to open up just in dating and on my platform as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. And I think we need to get, or maybe you already have, but we should get, Netflix and Paramount on the phone and get the fucking, the show greenlit. So I will do absolutely nothing because I know no one, but no, you heard it here first. But no, I think it's just a really cool story. And as you're talking, I can see that in my mind that it would make a really great real world kind of like different spin on dating. Cause a lot of people around the show, they're in the comments, they're lurking around, they're a little like pissed about dating. I think you have after the pandemic, you have people who are like really, really focused on finding that partner. And they use the dating apps like, you know, very, there's strategy there. Like, oh, nope, avoidant attachment, you're out of here or whatever. So they don't put up with, and then you have people who are just like, maybe don't even have dating apps and they're just like, it's a nightmare, right? So there's a lot of that second kind of a person listening to my show and in the comments, and I feel it, right? I totally, you know, they're sick of me hearing me talk about, you know, my dating app experiences, but they're horrendous, right? But like, I guess, what do we do? How do we reinvigorate someone? How do we give them hope? Give them hope. Like, if they don't like dating, if they're like, Dustin, it sucks, I don't even know what a dating app is. If they're just at square one, they've been burned, what would be your advice to get back out there?
God, I really believe in just ripping off the Band-Aid. I think if you're not on dating apps because you're scared, I think just get on them. Just fucking do it, match with someone and just go on a date. I don't particularly love like a lot of chatting before meeting someone. I think it's just better to meet someone in person. Obviously, if you're comfortable with that, unless you want to FaceTime first, but I think getting face to face with someone, that is so important. And once you're there, once you're on that date, it's like, you'll just feel yourself naturally like kind of calm down. And like, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to be a nice person. Even if it's not your person or you don't feel attracted to them, they're probably a good people. You're probably going to have a nice conversation. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you feel confident that this person wants to sit here and chat with you. Rip off the fucking Band-Aid and just go out and do it. I think that's the simple sort of answer, really.
No, I think that's great. It goes with that same fuck it energy. I love that.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah, totally. So, and I think a question that everybody wants to know, right? So I feel like dating I'm in Chicago and it's a little like that here, or we're not as fast as you guys, right? But you know, like, I feel like dating is more of a sport in the cities, Chicago, New York, LA. I lived in LA for a little while. Love LA, but LA for dating is a fucking nightmare.
That is what I have heard from my friends.
It's really crazy. Yeah. It's like normal dating, but like with a blindfold where one eye is like halfway cut out. That's what I would.
Totally. I love that.
And lots of drugs. So there's that. But like in the places that aren't cities, it's still kind of it feels very different. It feels like a sport in the cities, like I said. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, places that aren't huge and metropolitan, it just feels like they're doing it to check a box, right? How do we get people the New York state of mind with dating? That, you know, it's essentially the same question I asked you, but like, there has to be a trick. Or do you think that the city is just faster and that's just how it works?
I mean, I do think the city, in being in an urban area, is like a lot quicker. I think you have a lot more opportunities to meet people, even if that's out. I think when you're in like more of a rural area, and it kind of makes me think of like, you know, my single friends back in Texas. I know I keep referring to that, but I think it really is such a 180 sometimes to my life in the city. Mm-hmm. And I do think dating is harder, actually, when you're not in sort of a big city, because you kind of have to put more effort into going out and meeting new people and putting your face first. I was listening to another podcast, and this girl was just talking about like, when you're trying to meet someone in real life, like, it's like, you shouldn't focus on seeing or trying to find a specific person when you're out. It's more like making sure that you're having a good time and that you're feeling joy, because I think that you radiate that energy, and that then will bring someone to you, and like, you know, you'll connect in that way. And I think that maybe that's the secret down, you know, when you're in more of a rural area. It's like, just kind of focus on the moment, but put yourself out there and go to bars, go to restaurants, go to house parties, whatever it is, but don't focus on looking for someone specifically. Just focus on that you're having a good time, and people are going to feel that energy.
Yeah. That's incredible advice because I feel motivated not to date, but like to go like do something amazing because you're here, and you're just really great at what you do, and so I want to really take advantage of that on the show and make sure we are pulling all of the good things out of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think a large part of dating, I think with women, right, especially with women that I talk to that have not been dating and, maybe they took a couple years off or whatever, right, had kids and they're like, fuck that, I'm going to die alone. That whole mindset, right? Because I talk to a lot of people like that. And it sucks. But I think another part of it is like the sex factor, right? They just assume, and rightfully so, there's some fucking losers out there, but that it's going to be something they're nervous about having sex on the first date. This guy's going to expect sex if he buys me dinner and I shouldn't ride with him. And there's all of these things. And I think it psychs people out, right? So let's talk a little bit about the sex factor, especially on a first date.
Yeah. So, I'm a fan of sex on the first date if that is what you want. Like, keyword you, not sort of what the other person is, though it needs to be consensual. But I think that there is no sort of set rule. Like if you sleep with someone on the first date, then like that's all it's going to be. It's just going to be a hookup. Obviously that can happen. I don't think that's the case. I also think if you're scared, if you have to go in being like, I'm down to have sex on the first date, or like, I absolutely don't want to do that. And I go in different times. You don't have to stick by the same rule every time you go on a first date. Like sometimes I go in and I'm super attracted to this guy and I'm like, you know what? I want to have sex tonight. I want to have sex with this person in front of me. And if the opportunity comes up, I'm totally down. But sometimes I go into a date and I'm like, I'm not feeling it tonight. I don't want to have sex. And I think you have to create that barrier for yourself. Like a recent first date I went on, I was like, I'm not having sex with this guy. Though I thought he was very hot. I was like, I just was not in the mood. Mm-hmm. So he walked me back to my place, which I guess would be similar to like, someone dropping you off at your house. And I literally straight out said, I don't want to have sex on the first date tonight. I was like, I really don't trust myself. If you were to come up to even have a drink, like I know myself, I know that I'm going to want to have sex with you, but inside that's not really what I want to do. So I am interested in you, but I don't want to have sex. But let's totally set something up and do something like another week or another day or whatever. Like I find just like being completely blunt and honest is the go-to. Rather, if you don't want to have sex or you do, I mean, you don't have to be like, I want to have sex with you tonight, but like, if you don't, I think it's okay to say that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I'm a big fan of being blunt. It's gotten me into quite a bit of trouble, but hey, it's better than like lying and not being myself.
Yeah.
First of all, how did he take that when you said that to him?
I think he was just a little more shook that I had just been more blunt, which I also think is so great with men sometimes, is like when you are so honest with them, sometimes they're kind of like, oh, okay. Like she's not playing around. She knows what she wants. She's in control. And I think that's just such the key is you're in control. He was totally fine with it. We had a great hot corner street makeout with hands everywhere. I had a low back dress. It was great. And that was enough. Like, that was like, wow. It kind of like was like, this is good. Now we know that when we do have sex, it's going to be hot, but like, it kind of lets it simmer a little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. He took it well, I think.
Was there a second date?
There was a second date.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Was the second date. Well, I saw him at a little house party randomly. And then, it was so rainy for the past 2 weeks in New York that he came over to mine. I obviously knew I wanted to have sex with him and we watched a movie. It got a little bit more complicated because we couldn't end up having sex, because the condom, I didn't have the right size.
Yeah.
And he was very well endowed. that I have never really experienced in my life before. So we didn't ever actually end up having sex after this whole thing.
So it was more Netflix and less chilling, basically.
Yeah. I mean, we did all the other good stuff, fun stuff, but the sex thing, it literally just physically couldn't happen.
Yeah. Was there a third date?
There wasn't, because I honestly got annoyed with him because he couldn't really commit to a date. And I like going on dates. I like going to grab, even if it's just like a drink or something. It doesn't have to be something fancy and crazy. Like, I'll go to a bar and have a beer. And he just couldn't figure out how to sort of like make a date. So I just said, you know what? I'm more like of a going on a date girl. He would ask me, what's your week like? And then never ask me on the date. And I just kind of said, I like going on dates, and it just doesn't seem like we can figure out a time. So maybe this just isn't it. And he was like, okay. And I was like, all right, bye. And that was it.
Wow. Okay. Well, the story didn't have the ending. I'm not even really sure what ending I thought it was going to have, but
I didn't really know what ending he was going to have, to be honest with you.
So when obviously people know who you are in the city and everywhere that they're looking at your content, your website. I love your stuff on Instagram on both your accounts. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Instagram is hard. People don't realize like you have to do all this crazy fucking shit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just give a like, man. Give us a like.
Seriously, leave a comment, say something, say bananas. I don't care.
I don't care.
Please give us engagement. We need engagement. Okay.
I try so hard.
It's really kind of a shit show, to be honest.
It really is.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is. And TikTok's a whole other monster. That's just terrifying.
Yeah.
That's a demon baby.
Yeah.
That's a demon baby chasing me around.
TikTok is a demon baby. I have that same demon baby, and I fed it a little bit, right? And then TikTok's like, you know what? You said anal, you said ass, you're out of here. And I'm like, wait, hold on. I'll make them edited. And so that's where we're at. And it's like, but I think we gotta face that demon baby down, unfortunately. I think we gotta
it's chasing us. It's chasing us up the hill.
We gotta take your approach and just say fuck it and get in there and
exactly.
But I'm not gonna dance on there because I just feel like it would kill the vibe. Yeah. So when you're dating people, right? And they know who you are, obviously. Some probably, some don't, some do. Are you open about, hey, I'm, going out with Ted tomorrow, and then, Ron, I don't know where these names are coming from, on Friday. Like, are you open about your dating schedule, or?
Not particularly. I usually, if it's kind of rare if I have like 2 different dates on a week. I usually will say like, I can't that night. I'm going, I have drinks with a friend or something. I don't typically say, hey, I have another date, because, people don't really love to hear that. And honestly, like, I really wouldn't want to love to hear that. Like, I know you're going on other dates. Everyone kind of is. I mean, a dating app is like, you message one guy, they're also messaging all these other people. So it's kind of like, I know that you're also dating people. I would assume that you are, unless we had a conversation about monogamy,
Yeah, which feels like a conversation that nobody actually has until it's like a problem area. You know, it's super weird. We are super weird with the way we deal with each other. It's insanity. Like,
it's so weird.
We're writing this like shitty instruction manual. It's like, wait a minute, these aren't even the right pieces. It's like really bad. It's really bad. It
is. And that's definitely something I am working on and have worked on, is just like, when you get to that point with someone, and if you want to be monogamous, it's like, just fucking say it, you know? And I got to remind myself to do that. I mean, I haven't come to those crossroads in a while, but it's like, let's just fucking say what we feel. I mean, it's terrifying for me, but it's like ripping off the Band-Aid. And I just know that once I do it, it's going to make me feel so much better inside.
Do you, the Band-Aid thing is fucking money. Yeah. Let's just rip that fucker off. I love that. Have you ever been caught like by a previous date on a current date? Is there anyone that's been like holding flowers, like crying in the coffee shop window, or? No,
I would absolutely love that. I love a bit of drama. I really do. I wouldn't mind it. But no, I haven't run into anyone. Of late, no.
So it's never happened to you.
It hasn't, but now, you know what? Now that we've talked about it, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and you're going to have to come back, and we're going to have to talk about that, because that
100%.
is, I love a good love triangle too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's good like recurring character drama, you know, that sort of stuff. It can benefit, you know, healthily, but you know, I mean, I just figured that somebody would be like pouring their heart out to you in a bar. And then here comes like some guy like, wait a minute, you know, I just see that in my brain or something. I don't know.
Oh God, no, you know, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to a situation of that happening, but has yet to happen. Has yet.
Well, we can all hope. And if anyone's listening, no, that's like bad advice, because then people are going to stalk you. So don't do that. How do you feel like, I know you said that you're pro dating app, which is great. They're tools to use, yada, yada. Dating apps, social media, everybody bitches. These things are ruining us. And Leonardo DiCaprio, like all that stuff, right? If we didn't have social media, my husband would still be alive. I'm not sure how that works, but that everyone's complaining. And so for me, spoiler alert, I'm like, no. That's just who we are as humans. This is just a nice little mirror. If social media wasn't a thing, you know, my grandfather used to like cheat on his wife constantly, and he was like putting out like those ads and shit in the paper back in the day. So like he found a way, right? So social media, sure, it makes it easier, but what's your take on that? Because it does seem to be in the conversation, in the zeitgeist a lot.
Yeah, God, you know, I go back and forth because I see the toxicity of Instagram. I felt it. I feel it. You know, it gets me down sometimes. But at the end of the day, I think it's just the world that we live in. You know, I mean, it's 2022. Like, there's just gonna be technology. There's gonna be more of it. I think there's just a balance that we have to figure out, like, for ourselves. I think it's like an individual preference. And that goes with dating. Like, it goes with dating apps, how much you want to use it. And then also like trying to meet people in real life. I don't think you can really choose one without the other. I think they work simultaneously. God, such a hard question. I really think it's helpful, because obviously, I mean, we're sitting here chatting, like we wouldn't be without social media and Instagram. And I think conversations are being started that haven't before. It's a platform to have conversations that people are scared to, or, you know, or make you feel less lonely. It's kind of hard, because I think you kind of have to control what you see on social media at the end of the day. Who do you follow? What do you like? You know, and I think that's at the end of the day, the only other way we can really control it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully in a couple of years we will not be having this conversation about dating in the metaverse, because I can't do it.
I can't handle that. I really do need to be in person with someone at some point.
Yes.
You know, that scares me.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Yeah. It's like space to me, because I find space absolutely terrifying. Like, I don't want to date in space, and I don't want to date in the meta universe. I just want to date here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, chill out, Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk. Everybody just calm down with the fucking verse. Okay. I'm still trying to figure out the multiverse. So you mentioned the stuff about the dating apps and like people messaging, wanting not to feel lonely, and people putting up with that. I did look through some of your stuff on your website. Obviously, I'm a fan. And there was some stuff about this pen pals thing, right? Where you're talking to someone on a dating app and nobody will make the first move in terms of meeting up, and you wind up just texting or voice noting with someone forever. Okay. Has that happened to you? How did you deal with it? And what would your advice be for all the wonderful people that are stuck in that fucking
a pen pal?
Yeah.
I think for a while I would chat on either, if it was a dating app or you switched to texting, and having like conversations. I think I kind of gave myself, I wouldn't do more than like 2 weeks of chatting before seeing them. And even then I kind of just felt like you lost the spark, because at the end of the day, like, you guys just don't know each other from Adam. You know each other through pictures. And I just think it's so important to have that one-on-one, face-to-face, even if it's just like a FaceTime or something. I did that for a while, and I really was like, this is not getting me anywhere. So I gave myself like no more than a week. If I am chatting with someone on like a dating app, or we've done the texting, like if they don't set a date or like nothing, we don't mutually do that, then it's like a no for me. And for example, like with this guy that I didn't see, obviously we had seen each other, but we went like 3 weeks without seeing each other again. And that's when I was like, dude, I'm not your pen pal. You know, like, I'm not just here to text you and validate and feel some sort of void from you, like emotional void through texting. And I think a lot of people get stuck through that. And stuck in that of being someone's pen pal because they think, oh, well, eventually we'll see each other. But I think you need to internally find like a boundary and make a boundary of like, if I don't see this person in, you know, a week or 2 weeks, whatever you're comfortable with, then just end it. Because or just kind of let it die out. Because one, if you haven't seen them, you don't owe them anything. You really don't, because you don't know them. And I think it's a boundary you have to set for yourself, because then you'll just get lost in pen pal abyss. And it's like, you know,
yeah, you don't want to be there. Yeah, no. It's fucking terrible. It's so bad. And well, one, I think I had a situation where, and you can shout red flag, or you can, but like this was the situation. We were chatting for like 3 days. We matched, we chatted for like 3 days. And like, she sent some pictures, nothing like, just like not titties or anything. It was like, just, you know, here's my face. I'm a real person. Right.
Right.
And I'm pretty good at like, being able to like decipher if this is a fucking bot in some weird country that's like, right, or some other planet or a metaverse thing or whatever. Right. And so, I'm like, I'm fairly certain this is a real person. So we progress into day 2 or whatever. And she's like, you should come over. Here's a sexier picture. And I'm like, okay, let's FaceTime first. And she like was like, oh no, why would you ask me that? Why would you ask me that? Like, got defensive. And I was like, it's not that big of a deal, right? Like, I just want to make sure you are who you say you are. No offense. These pictures are great, but if I show up in, you know, some weird scenario with like hockey sticks or something, I don't know what's going on. Right. And she refused to FaceTime with me. And I was like, wow. She's like, you should come over tonight. And I was like, that's weird that you're still trying, even though I said whatever. And so it became this debate. Right. And, I've heard multiple positions. One, that's weird, red flag, right? Probably, you know, so in someone's basement, some weird thing going on, right? But on the other end, from women, I've heard, well, some women, that FaceTiming is such a personal thing, and the camera always never, you know, I don't look good enough, and all the lighting and all that shit. So like, that's the debate, right? So I need you to officially weigh in. Red flag, right? Or am I like,
definitely a red flag, 100%, I think. Because if she's not comfortable with FaceTiming, then you guys could have easily been like, okay, let's meet up around the corner before going to your house or going to your apartment, whatever it is. You know, like there's a corner bar or something, a coffee, who cares? You know, meet before. That's not in like an apartment or home. Because she could have 100% said that.
Yeah. And so little more information for you, right? Let's get cocktails. I don't drink. Okay, let's get coffee. I don't drink coffee. I was like, well, water? Like what? Yeah. Chicken nuggets? Like what's going on? What the fuck?
Like want some fries? Like I don't know.
Yeah, a milkshake. But she was like, oh yeah, I'm open to meeting you wherever. But then like got weird about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'd be like, okay, cool. Let's go to this place. And she was like, yeah, but then like, I don't drink. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but you just said it. And so it's like, just come over. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
For
so
me,
did
that's
you
a
go
red.
over?
No, oh my God, I'm still here. No way. That was like, to me, was like instant red flag. And so I think,
Yeah.
that being said, right, little story from my nightmare of a former dating life. I'm wondering, like, what other, someone who's like really at the center of dating in the city, all the things that you're doing, the book, right now, what are some other red flags that are like super common? Like, what are your friends saying? I can't believe he, or whatever.
Oh God. It's such a mixed bag. A red flag truly to me is like when they don't make like an effort to like make a date, one, or if they're like a little bit lazy. That's like a huge red flag to me. Like in the sense of like not wanting to like make a date or put in any effort. That's like a huge red flag. God, I don't even know. I feel like there's so many different scenarios. Like, I guess like if you're on like a date, if like they're not asking any questions about you, red flag, you know? Or, I mean, I just think it's so different depending on like what you're looking for, you know?
Yeah. No, it really is. Like, there's fucking red flags everywhere.
Right.
All over the place. So I'm wondering then, what is your process for dating, right? Like, do you have like a bartender that you always go to, and then you'll say a certain word, and if someone's like a weirdo, like how are you vetting people? You don't have to give away all of your secrets, but like a couple secrets would be great. Like, is it dinner? Is it drinks? Is it always drinks before dinner? Like, because that's another debate too.
I'm a big first date drinks, you know, or coffee. I mean, I don't know, whatever. Something that's not like dinner and it's not like a forced that you're sitting down. I always go and sit at a bar because then you can figure out how they interact with the bartender, how they interact with people around me. I really love someone who is like a good chat and chats with other people around them and also the bartender. And so I take that into account, you know, that they're not just sort of focusing on me. We're kind of talking about our whole surroundings a little bit. So I'm always a big going to the bar and sitting at the bar because then it doesn't feel so like anyone can get up if they have to leave, you know? It's like they can just pay for one drink and you can pay for it right there on the spot and not have to do another round. So it's like, I think it gives both sides like an opportunity to leave if they really are like, this is absolute shit. And also you can see how they interact with their people.
Yeah, that's huge. I don't know. I mean, to me, like eating a meal with someone is insanely intimate. I don't care what anyone says.
Intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people like, let's like take a time machine back really quick to the 80s, right? It was like dinner and a movie, like the worst fucking two things you could put together for the first date. Like, you're sitting in silence. You're nervous to eat or like stuff in your teeth. Like, what were our parents doing?
I don't know. I have no idea because a movie is honestly the worst. That you literally just sit there and like you don't even talk. Like it's just you're sitting there and then you're like, do we touch? Do we hold hands? Do we like what do I do with my body? You know?
Right. It's so awkward. It's like the worst.
So awkward. My hands are clammy. It's just like so bad.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know who was in charge of dating back then, but what the fuck, Dr. Ruth? Like
it's horrific. Yes. I don't know how we're all here today, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it must have been some good pasta, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like there isn't, again, with the idea that we're not putting kind of like just like walking around and hopefully we don't fall off a cliff, right? Like little lemmings and shit. There's no direction. That's what I love about what you do with your brand. I think it's just like, it's super cool because it's like really accessible. I'm a guy like looking, I was like super intrigued and like, you know, and obviously I have this podcast, so my mindset is sort of there too. But like, I feel like anyone could go on I mean, women, of course, but I feel like anyone could go on your website and just be like, this is awesome. It felt personal, but still like
highly
like stylized. Very, very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know, I think there's so many dating things out there, dating platforms, communities, whatever. And I think a lot of them give you tips and rules and things to follow. And some of them are good and some of them I just really don't agree with. I think dating is such a personal thing. You can't say you have to do X, Y, and Z to get to a relationship or get to what you want. I think it even changes by the day,
Sure.
you know? So that's just what I want people just to like read what I have to say and my thoughts and my experiences and just take what they want from it, you know, and they don't have to agree wholeheartedly on what everything I say. It's just to like kind of get your thoughts going and your feelings moving around.
So that brings up this question, which I'm dying to know. Do you think like when you're dating and you've built this platform solely around dating, and there's other things in there too, but the dating is the core of it, and you're helping all these people, but like you're doing it through your own experience, which I'm always a giant fan of when people do that. Is a piece of you like, you know, a little demon baby in the back of your mind? Is it saying like, oh, don't find someone you like because then you won't have anything to talk about? Like, is that a factor? Is there like some anxiety in there maybe? I
think there's definitely a little demon baby back there. That is like, oh God, if you get into like a serious relationship, then like, what are you going to do? And I think people have asked me that as well. So maybe that's why it's kind of like in my mind, it just kind of makes you question like, oh shit, like, is that going to be a problem? But now that I've kind of like sat back and thought about it, like, I really don't think so. I think for me is like, even when you're in a relationship, dating is still a part of it. You still should prioritize going on a date and doing things for yourself, even if you have children or anything. I think dating is a part of our life forever. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And I just think, you know, I just hope that like it will just evolve with me and what I'm doing and what I want. I mean, right now I'm 26 and I just know that I'm not looking to get into like a crazy serious relationship. I'm still trying to figure myself out. So I don't know. I think I'll just cross that bridge when I get to it. But at the same time, I'm always going to be dating. And if you look at other people, like other, you know, dating gurus or experts or whatever, you know, a lot of them get into relationships and get married and stuff, and they're still sort of doing it. So I think it evolves with you. And that's all a part of like having, you know, putting your own experience in it. And if I think, you know, you look back at Sex and the City, Carrie Bradshaw was in and out of relationships, but she continued to chat about it. So I think it's fine. I'm not worried.
Oh, I love that. You give the best fucking answers. It's so great. Like, it's so great. Have you ever had a partner or a date partner, right? Who had a problem with what you were doing? Like, got like kind of weird or crunchy or jealous or something?
Not really. I think like there is like a bit of insecurity with it. I've had dates or people that I've consistently dated ask like, you know, are you going to talk about me on there? Or, you know, and I'm like, no, I mean, I'm going to talk about my experience in a way that, but I'm not going to like talk about you specifically and like put your name in there like at all. And I take it, the thing is like the things that I write about and things I talk about, I take for myself and also conversations that I have with friends and other people in the city that are dating, and kind of create, you know, my own thoughts and what I want to write about. So it's like, it's kind of like, it's not all about the person that I'm dating in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. And I think it's important to kind of find that out, because then it's like, well, it's not my person, fucking asshole or whatever.
Right,
like,
exactly. Yeah. Like if they're not down with it, then like I can't change what I like, what I do and who I am. So sucks.
Yeah, no, sucks to suck, guys.
Right.
Like, then that's the thing is, right into this other sort of like thing I always get myself into trouble online trouble. Big fan, but I think there are other fish in the sea, right? And everyone's like, no. This constant argument. So let's put this fucking thing to bed too, right? Mm-hmm. Where do you side on that tug of war from hell?
Oh yeah, I think that you have many soulmates in life. I don't think that there's just one person. Like, I think that you have different stages, and maybe you have like a serious relationship when you're in your teens or in your 20s and it doesn't last. But at the same time, I think that they can still be considered your soulmate, especially, you know, people say when you love someone, most of the time, like that love doesn't go away, though it will maybe change its meaning. But I think you have multiple soulmates in life. I think your friends can be your soulmates. I mean, dare I say it, I think your dog can be your soulmate. I think it's things that connect with you and like make people who connect with you and make your life feel whole and better, even if it is just for like a certain amount of time. I don't think there's just one person for everyone. I really don't. I think that's a beautiful idea and a beautiful dream, but I just don't know. I just don't know if that's reality. And I don't know if that's just kind of like putting ourselves in a box to look for this one person.
Yeah, you're fucking settling. like when you do that. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Stop settling.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a lot of dating experts on the show lately in this run of episodes. And so I want to ask you, and everyone had a different opinion. But like the online dating profiles, right? Someone said a couple episodes back, like, take I like Meatballs and the Office, and Ross and Rachel weren't separated and whatever, right? Those sort of things, right? Do they keep that stuff in there? Or do they yank that shit out?
God, I think it depends on who you're looking for. If you're just putting it because you're checking a box on the dating app to be like, oh, I got to put this cliche thing in there, then don't do it. If that's truly how you feel and you're like, I need someone to know that I don't think Ross, they were on a break or whatever, then like put it, you know, if you really feel strongly about that subject. But if you're just putting that in there because you think that's what people want to hear, then don't do it. I think you need to just put in what you want. I'm a big fan of putting like funny ones on there and like maybe something that's not so serious. That shows more of like your personality a little bit. I feel like you tend to get more reactions out of those and more of like a spark of a conversation starter. Than opposed to being like, I like meatballs, you know? It's like, what kind of meatballs? So it's like, if you're doing it just to fucking do it because someone told you to, don't.
Yeah. Stop fitting in. What is in your opinion, what's the best dating app?
Oh, it changes. Right now, I would say I'm more of a Hinge girl, per se. I've been on Bumble. I just feel like there's kind of weirdos on there right now. I'm on Raya. I've literally met one person on there. It is literally a scam. Because now I can't stop paying for it, because what if I stop and then I don't get back on?
Oh, God.
And then I need to get back on. It's just a crazy scam that I'm stuck in.
Yeah.
I'm personally not on Filled. I don't know if you've heard about that. But
yeah.
My friend is, and she really enjoys it. And she's actually met people and has been in like, you know, consistently dating people from Filled. And she kind of is like, she thinks people are more honest about what they want.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of like just, you know, doesn't have all that sort of veil on you that the other dating apps do. It's like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want, you know? And, yeah, she's like, people are just kind of to the point on that one. I'm not on there yet, but she's loving it. But I think right now I'm mostly on Hinge. Yeah. That's so basic. I don't even know.
No, I don't think so. I think a great point about Field, and Field is more, I guess how do we tell the audience, like what kind of, that's more of an open, like you can say you're in
sex positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say, it's also for couples that are looking for like another, if it's a threesome or they're poly, but also you can just be like a single person you can even be looking for a partner, but like is into sort of similar sex things that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
I think it's really cool. Yeah, I was on Field for a while. I never met anybody from there, but I'm sort of a psychopath, so it doesn't matter. I would get like super avoidant as soon as it looked like we might meet, and I would, except for that one time where the woman wouldn't FaceTime with me.
Right.
That was my one time. No, yeah. So what do you think is a good opener? Because obviously with Bumble, women go first. You're right. Bumble is like gotten like really trash. I feel like
Yeah.
Bumble and Hinge, they're like, you know what? We're not charging people enough. Turn the, and it's like, what the hell, guys? You
Exactly.
ruined the app.
I know, exactly. Yeah, Bumble's full of, I just don't know. Or maybe I'm just like not vibing with Bumble peeps. I don't know.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
What is a good opener, would you say, for someone, like the first thing to say to start the conversation?
I typically comment on a photo, most of the time, but I try to find something really niche in the photo, whether that's like they're holding some sort of drink or they're like wearing something really bizarre. It's usually on their last photo because I find that people put their last photo as like their weirdest photo, like the craziest one that's mostly more of their personality. So I really kind of put thought into like, what can I say that's a little bit obscure than, just replying to whatever that they like meatballs,
Yeah.
So I always try to find something a little bit niche. And I think that kind of works because then they know that you're really looking at, you're taking the time to look at their profile and like figure out who they are.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, you guys heard it from the fucking VIP pro herself. Find something obscure, shows that you care. It's fun, right? Because everybody messages like, what's your favorite episode of that? I mean, I guess that even more basic, like, how's your Wednesday doing? Like, oh God.
Right. Yeah. Cause like if like a guy messages me first and they're like, hey, how are you doing? It's like, I'm good. How are you? It's like, how does a conversation go from there?
Yeah. It's rough out here.
It is rough.
I'm glad I deleted all my dating apps. I'm off the day. It's amazing. It feels amazing. But
Good for you.
that's me. So so in closing, this is another fun one. Can you give a dating horror story? Something that happened to you. I'm gonna talk until you're ready. You can just blink twice, whatever. But like,
okay, I'm ready.
Okay, dating horror story.
Okay, so can this be a one night stand?
Of course,
totally down for that.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a little gruesome too.
Yes.
So I was out with my friends a couple years ago. We were at a bar and we met this English guy and this Irish guy. They're very cute. We got on well. Obviously, they were only staying for 2 days. And I was like, this is totally just going to be a one night stand thing. I was vibing with the Irish guy. I was like, just come back to my place. So we go back to mine, go have sex. Sex is like fine. He's a little big. He's like, I've heard, Irishmen can be a little well endowed. And after this, I feel like that's confirmed. So we're having sex and we're done and we're just kind of lying there, I'm just chatting with him. Don't really know him. And we're looking around and we're like, where's the condom? And he's like, I don't know, like it must have fallen off the bed. So we just start sort of looking around. We can't find it. And I'm like, oh, shit. So then we start stripping off the beds, doing all the crap. And then I realized that my friend had recently gotten a condom stuck inside of her. And I was like, that's it. So then I kind of stare at him. I'm like, it's inside of me. And he like literally couldn't believe that was a thing. He was like, what do you mean it's inside of you? And I was like, I think it's like fully inside my vagina. So I took myself to the bathroom, was digging in there. I couldn't get it out, but I could feel it. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like go to the hospital or something to get this out. Like, how horrific is this? And I think I was like maybe 22 at the time. So like, this is like also scary. So I go back into him and I'm like, you have to leave. And he's like, what? You didn't find it? And I was like, no, I like literally it's inside of me and I'm just going to have to get plan B or something. And he was just so traumatized. He just like couldn't believe what was happening. And I was like, you just need to leave. He was like, well, what if like, do you need anything? He's like, do you want me to like buy plan B? I was like, it is 3 a.m. I was like, I need to like lie here and just allow this thing to sort of try to come out of me. So he left. And then I literally laid there till like 7 a.m. and it just allowed it to just sort of seep out of me. And then it finally came out, and out came with it his nice little cum. And, that was it really. And then I went and got plan B. And I mean, I love Irishmen and Irish people, but I really have not, I have not dated an Irishman since. It's something that's so stuck in my mind. And it was really just one of the worst sexual experiences because it was so awkward. Like he just didn't know what to do. He just stared at me like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than that when something horrific is happening and someone like freezing, you know?
Yeah, and I've known him for like an hour or 2 hours or something.
Wow.
So.
Well, that is a dating horror story.
That is.
Stevie Bowen, thank you so much for being on the show with me. I love everything you're doing. Where can people find you? Where can people give you money for things, buy your book? What's coming up?
Yeah, so I'm at The City of Dating on Instagram, TikTok. We're on Facebook too. I post our weekly dating advice columns come out every Wednesday. You can get my ebook anywhere. And if you want the hardcover, which looks brilliant on your coffee table, that's thecityofdating.com, which is where you can also read my column and everything like that. We are getting into events. We did our first event 2 weeks ago. So lots of exciting things coming up. So that's me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm so happy that you came on the show and we're open, and I thank you so much. You are definitely coming back, so we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
really,
of course.
It was the best time.
It was a fucking blast. Yeah, you're great. Awesome. We will talk soon.
Bye.
God damn, right? I told you. Killer fucking episode. Is everybody motivated to go out there and start tearing it up in the streets? If you aren't, then go watch again. Big thank you to Stevie Bowen for being my guest this week. She's incredible. Go check out The City of Dating. Buy the book. Just anything that she says to do, go do it. She's awesome. If you are loving guests like Stevie, if you are still in the mix with me and all my bullshit, there's a couple different ways you can show that you love Sex Party. If you're listening on platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, iHeart, you can leave a rating, you can leave a review, you can subscribe. That's probably the most important thing, is that you subscribe so you never miss a lovely episode of this show. If you're watching on YouTube, If you're watching on YouTube, you can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, you can leave a comment. These things help. You do not have to do them, but I appreciate it if you do. Christmas is coming. That's all I'm going to say. Love you guys. Having a fucking blast with these last couple episodes. If you want to talk to me, reach out in the DMs on Instagram. It's the best place. If you want to hate, make sure you do it in the comments. And you know what I'm going to say. I will see you right back here next week.
Thanks for listening. The party continues next week. Click subscribe and let's make this a regular thing. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter @SexPartyFM. Follow Dustin @DustinRybka.